This is KTN News.
The kind of services that we provide to ensure that we meet the quality standards of the grain while in our stores. We also give out stores. We were asked by the government to lease to the private sector some stores, and we have various government institutions, MDAs, utilizing our stores that are underutilized or are not capacity. Weigh bridges, we also provide weighing services. So you don't need to go to a private sector. You can come to our premises where we have weighing bridges, and they are actually calibrated and they meet the standards, the KIPPRA standards. Again, we can do the bagging. So you can have your bulk harvest, and you can still come and do all the quality checks in terms of drying, cleaning, and making sure that you have the proper product kept. Again, if we go the strategic direction that we want to have, I'll be very fast here. We have two divisions where we have the National Food Reserve, and this will be managed from our premises, as well as the National Zero and Produce Port Trading Division, which now we will have. So that is the strategic direction that we are taking. And in this strategic direction, we want to utilize two avenues. I want to just go straight to what we call the agricultural hub. We've heard of agricultural hubs, but then most of the agricultural hubs in Kenya now are virtual. But we are presenting now one that is physical. Already we have identified 5 good locations. One is up and running in Eldoret. We have another one in Nakuru. We have in Webuye. We'll have in Meru. We have in Timbilia already. We'll have one in Nairobi. And this is the kind of interaction in summary. This is where the hub, and this is the direction we are going, and we have done it. Right now we have more than 100 stakeholders operating from our stores and physically existing and selling their products. And this is the kind of interaction where we have the banks, we have the mechanizations, we have agrochemicals, we have advisors from government, and we provide, yes, quickly, in conclusion, our services are provided there around in terms of the weighing, the barking, and the rest. So to conclude, we also provide markets, because you see, once we have maize in our stores, even the schools right now are picking maize from our stores. So already there will be a market for your produce in our stores. So to quickly conclude, we have also launched the warehousing receipt system I've shared, and this is how it operates. The warehousing receipt system, the concept is that you, as a farmer or producer, once you produce your products, you don't need to rush where the traders will actually take advantage of you in terms of the prices. You can place your products in our warehouse, where we'll subject with all quality parameters and store them as you wait and anticipate for the prices, like what you are seeing today. The maize is retailing at around 6,000 per 90 kgs. I want to stop there, and I want to say thank you and God bless you. And as you leave, don't go and stay hungry tomorrow. There is some rice here at our stores. I've seen some people have bought quality rice from where? Just behind the stores. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Noah, for such an elaborate presentation. I'm surprised to know that you have covered the whole country. Actually, it's very surprising to know that you are all over. One time I was in Kitale and it was just about to rain. I got the biggest surprise to realize that there was actually maize on the road dry, and at the same time, in Kwale they were dying. because there was no food. I could not understand that. I'm yet to understand exactly how we can create that connectivity where we are saying we can be able to connect we create a balance between those who have and those who do not have. But maybe we will be able to help us even understand much better. And when I actually sought to understand why that was happening, I was told is because the stores in Kitale are full. That's why they could not take that maize anywhere. And I was asking, then it means if I had the money, I could have bought this maize and be releasing one by one later at a whatever rate I want, because I have just to rescue the situation. But I want to thank you for helping us to understand what you're doing to stabilize the market, and thank you so much even for speaking about the warehouse receipt system, a wonderful system where farmers, and especially where grain is concerned, we can be able to trade with our receipts. And I think that's an innovation that we may need to actually pursue and make use of, because it's an innovation from the government and we can be able to make use of it. Thank you so much. I'm just informed that we actually live on KTN News. So if you are very far, we may not see you. So that explains why you may need to be closer so that we can be able to see you live through KTN. Thank you so much. Now we want to get to the next item, which is our third and last one, which is labor markets. And to discuss this, we are going to be led by Eric Mutesia Moisio. Eric works for Skyguard, and he will be able to help us to be able to understand this issue of labor markets. Welcome, Eric. Let's clap for him as he comes over. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes. So let's move next. Okay. Hi guys. Thank you so much to KIPPRA for having us here. My name is Eric Mutisia. I'm the commercial director at Skyguard. We have a brief presentation. I was clearly told I shouldn't go over 15 minutes, so I'll keep it 15 minutes. Hope we can enjoy. And I've made it purposely the topic to cover mostly on Skyguard, so let's jump right into it. So just to define what labor markets are, and yes, so it's basically, how you can term it easily, these are job markets. So it's basically creating supply. So this is by employers, and creating demand. This is now by the employees to have that balance. So a balanced job market or balanced labor market basically means having this balance between supply, demand and supply. So for staff and for the employers to create this demand. Yes, so the most important thing is for now what we can call the employees to use the inputs so that we can, using tools and equipments to get outputs. And without employers, basically employees won't have work to do, and without employees, these businesses and companies cannot earn profits. So whether it's goods or services. And I'd like to take this to Skyguard directly what we do. So a brief introduction is we are an e-commerce company. So basically the easiest description or definition of an e-commerce company is buying and selling products online. So we are an automated e-commerce platform offering an end-to-end solution. So from buying of goods to payments of vendors. We offer a marketplace, so where customers buy from, and then we offer what we call a seller center, so a backend where sellers are able to upload products and sell them. The images, sorry, let me go back. So the top image is the marketplace, so where customers can buy stuff from. The lower image, the seller center, the backend. So it's through this tool we are able to offer jobs to we are able to connect 10,000 merchants to the marketplace. So when COVID-19 came, we saw a lot of businesses going online. Even companies which never had websites were out there creating websites, downloading applications. So what we did as Skyguard, we went out there, had all these guys who are not anywhere selling online to just come online. It's very easy on board. Download an app, upload your product, promote it. It's out there and customers can buy. So through that, we have about 10,000 merchants, so people who sell on the platform across the country. They are able to reach thousands, if not millions of customers in the platform. We work with 13 courier partners. So this is in two ways. Regional, these big guys who everyone knows, the Fagos, the G4S, SpeedUp, so on and so forth. And then local. So these are the local courier partners that we work with. Just on time, people like Sandy who are now doing the business that we are in. So through that as well, we've been able to employ close to over 50 people. We work with a lot of other service providers, banks, telecommunication companies, fintech companies. For example, banks, when we do payments, customers paying using cards, telecommunication, M-Pesa, Airtel. Fintechs, we offer loans to our sellers. So we get an average of, for example, how much you're selling month on month. With that, we are able to give you a loan. So doing a lot of things, advertising companies, agencies, we work with those as well. And yeah, so I'll briefly take you through just how, yes, so how to sell on Skyguard. It's very, very easy. So 6 steps. Creating a free web shop, download an app or go to Seller Center, sell.sky.garden, add products, so list your products there. You can put as much content as possible. As they usually say, people buying online need information because they don't see these goods physically. Then you promote. So basically, Skyguard does this for you. Customers come to the platform, so we do a lot of marketing. I'm sure most of you have seen us on our Facebook, or on Instagram, YouTube ads. We also do ATL, so billboards, stuff like that. We work with a lot of influencers. Customers buy. Then we have the partners, what I was talking about, the courier partners, where we've been able to employ quite a number of people. So apart from the sellers, we have a lot of guys, the guys who we know as boda and do the guys. Then you get paid. It's very easy. Deposit money to your account. You are able to withdraw this to your bank account or your M-Pesa account. And that's it. Basically, you own Skyguard and you are selling. So I talked about financing. So through the data that we get with the sales that you make on the platform, you are able to get a loan. So most of these businesses struggle with, say, capital. We want to expand. So with that sales data, we are able to give you loans. Yeah, so in conclusion, and I think this was mentioned by Willie in terms of the percentage of business which is in retail. This according to some data I got from Kenya Labor Market Information System. Although the data is from 2019, which is the most recent on that website, our government agencies clearly need to up their game when it comes to content online. So retail trade is the largest economically in the country, economic activity in the country. So the mamambogas, and what we've come to do as the digital businesses is bridge this gap. You've seen what, for example, Twiga is doing with farmers down there, and those guys are basically online right now. So retail is evolving. Brick and mortar stores, we are not yet there where we can say e-commerce, marketplaces, social commerce can replace brick and mortar. But within a short period of time, we've seen these guys as well going online. Naivas is a very good example. They have a very nice website where you can check out your products. Basically what you are doing, but a little bit different because ours is open to anyone and everyone in the platform. So that is in a nutshell it. But I'll also take this opportunity to mention some of the frustrations we've lately been facing as the digital economy. All of you guys know what KRA is doing. Those guys are on our neck. Emails, they're basically asking for details of these sellers. So most of the sellers in this country, don't own KRA PIN and stuff. Those guys literally want us to provide them data with sales of these guys. So we are in communication with them, but those are some of the frustrations. Got another one lately from Kenya Data Commission, where they say we need to sign up with them, so on and so forth. But I think the government should be there to complement us, and KIPPRA thanks to KIPPRA for creating this opportunity. And I think this is where digital economies, private sector, and government meet and discuss some of these things. Yeah, that will be it for me. Thank you very much. I'm the only speaker to do it under 15 minutes.
Eric, thank you so much. They need to understand where we come from. We always run to make sure that we eat for the day because we do not have a lot of food. Yes, so thank you so much. Let's appreciate Eric for the good presentation. Vera, are you here? Ah, okay. Thank you so much. We want to get to another presentation, and thank you for saving time. I think all of you are on spot as time is concerned, and thank you so much. We want to hear a bit of aggregation and even about the role of the cooperative movement. I think majority of our farmers, actually this is where they aggregate their products to be able to make them marketable. And so with that, we want to hear from Vera Sharon Ochieng. Vera comes from the Kenyan National Farmers Federation, and she's a young, enthusiastic agricultural economist. Young, listen to that, enthusiastic agricultural economist, but with a vast knowledge and training in agricultural rural development. Project development, monitoring, and evaluation. And therefore, let's hear from this young, energetic, and enthusiastic young lady. Welcome, Vera Sharon Ochieng. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. I'll not reintroduce myself. He said, well, my name is Vera Sharon Ochieng from the Kenyan National Farmers Federation. I'll take a short time. Thank you, KIPPRA. Thank you, ED, for this invitation. My presentation outline is as, oh, sorry. Oops. Could you kindly help, please? Meanwhile, I'll just say a brief profile of what KNAF is. Kenya National Farmers Federation is a apex umbrella organization, essentially the national farmer organization that represents, protects, promotes, and articulates the interest of Kenyan farmers in Kenya at Pan-African Farmers Organization, at the World Farmers Organization. So this is the umbrella organization that represents farmers and articulates their issues. Our mission as a Kenya National Farmers Federation is to influence transformation and growth in the agricultural sector, to accelerate improved incomes, livelihoods, and promote food and nutrition security for farmers in Kenya. That's the outline of my presentation. I've already given a brief profile. Speaking about cooperatives and the role of aggregation. We all know that, in case someone doesn't know, I'll still repeat the common saying that agriculture is the backbone of our economy. We all agree. Without agriculture, I think none of us would be alive. We all eat, we all survive because of agriculture, and its role in contributing 26 and 27% directly and indirectly, respectively, to our GDP. So when you speak about cooperatives and their role in aggregation, in spurring economic transformation, we talk about the role of farmers, the role of agriculture, and the role of cooperatives in spurring economic growth. So I didn't get this, sorry. Could you just let me know how to move ahead? All right, great. Just the cooperative model, that's just a definition of what it does, and a brief background of cooperatives that dates back to 1908, back then being a preserve of the whites in Kenya, and just to develop and market the agricultural crops. So currently we have various categories of cooperatives. I will major on the agricultural cooperatives from my end, but we do have circles in housing, in marketing, and in so many other areas, the savings and credit cooperatives that we have. Those are the principles of cooperatives. I'll give a focus on cooperation amongst cooperatives, democracy, economic participation. Then I move to, let me just move so that I save on time. What do agricultural cooperatives help with? Their members. And their members allow me to have the bias of farmers. And improves access to credit. This is because the members actually contribute to the capital formulation of their cooperatives. They are member-based. Improves savings and deposits. Increases the farmers' bargaining and purchasing power. Collective marketing and production. This is where aggregation comes in. Smallholder agriculture in Kenya and in sub-Saharan Africa essentially is dominated by smallholder agriculture. The operations are fragmented and the scale of operations is quite small. Therefore, they are unable to tap into the opportunities that come through when it comes to agricultural development. This is whereby aggregation becomes an essential part of cooperative development. Why? Because if I produce in an acre, she produces in 2 acres, 100 of us have 2 acres each, and we collectively aggregate our produce, we are able to have better prices from the market when we do collective bargaining and selling. And by coming together, we build our capital, develop our infrastructure, and as well be able to participate in other things like value addition, for example, access to finance, access to insurance, amongst many other imperatives that we need for economic development when it comes to cooperatives. Well, some of that I've already mentioned. When it comes to the agricultural sector, which is faced by a myriad of challenges, top to it being markets. When you speak about making markets work. Markets in terms of access. Markets in terms of missing markets. Issues that hinder market development. For example, information asymmetry, for example. Farmers do not know. The markets might exist, but they do not know how to access. Or if they know, they are unable to, due to a number of reasons. So aggregation and cooperatives being a major agent where they aggregate and be able to sell and improve their economic well-being really serves as a center of development. In what ways? They are able to access easily services like extension service provision, mechanization, for example. If they want to receive, get loans, for example, for mechanization that is required to be able to produce efficiently, they need to be in a group, for example, in a cooperative, because that way they are bankable for a smallholder who is unable to access some loan. Being together, that collective action enables them to have access to what, without which they would not be able to access. That's just a continuation. I'll move next to role of cooperatives in sustainable economic transformation, our major topic of today. Cooperatives help us in addressing some of the market inefficiencies that affect markets. Information asymmetry, as I mentioned. They improve domestic savings and investment and capital accumulation. I think from the research that I last read, they contribute about 30% of domestic savings and investment, just cooperatives alone. And they open access to external markets. Giving an example of the most recent example whereby the direct sales of 134.4 tons of coffee beans to South Korea that was facilitated by KIPPRA Coffee Cooperative that shall see about 9,582 farmers receive, from the South Rift receive better earnings, more than 40 shillings per kg. How is this possible? This cooperative is a conglomerate of about 56 cooperatives. And through cooperation of these cooperatives and being able to sell together, they are able to fetch better markets, improve their incomes, and spur development. They also promote social inclusion and economic empowerment of the marginalized, promote gender inclusion and empowerment of the underprivileged. Membership, if I could go back to I won't go back, but amongst the principles are free will to join, for example, without discrimination. So in a cooperative arrangement, all members are able to have access and be able to benefit from the cooperative benefits that everyone else gets without discrimination. There are pathways to achieving the sustainable development goals. So many of the goals, if I could mention from 1 to 17, at least in a way or the other, improving incomes will help in alleviating poverty, for example. No poverty, food and nutrition security, sustainable consumption, sustainable production. So cooperatives have a way of helping to achieve the SDGs, the Agenda 2030, the economic pillar in the Kenyan blueprint. Just a continuation, and research and practical experiences has shown that in cooperatives, when we have people coming together, collective action will enable them to have access to better services, finance, insurances, and many other services that you would not be able to access individually. I think I had mentioned already that I don't know why it's not moving. But I could continue. The next slide would be about some of the challenges that I wanted to move ahead. Yes. Some of the challenges that cooperatives face that still hinder the ability to harness their full potential to contributing to economic growth. Part of it being poor leadership and governance. No problem, I'll still go. Yeah, poor leadership and governance, stiff competition, financial management, and the dynamism of membership being the structure that you can get in and out. If they don't keep their members engaged and they see the profitability and sustainable membership, they tend to have the up-down difficulty in maintaining their memberships. So what can we do to harness the full potential of cooperatives for economic transformation? First of all is to address the gaps that I've already identified that still hinder full potential of cooperatives. Firstly being strengthening capacity building of cooperative management for effective governance. Governance is a very important factor for any organization. Therefore, organization development is very, very important. If that is strengthened, they'll be able to prosper. Fostering a conducive enabling environment for them to thrive, By environment, I mean the institutional, legal, regulatory, and policy environment. Thanks to KIPPRA that does research. If that goes ahead and we are able to lobby and advocate the governments and cooperative being a devolved function, for example, we're able to lobby at national and subnational levels for cooperatives to be able to thrive in a conducive ecosystem. Incentivize the cooperatives. Provide support to the cooperatives. We have issues to do with cess, for example. When farmers are trying, you'll excuse me, I'll have a bias to farmers. When farmers and people in the value chain, the various players, are trying to foster value chain development, challenges of taxation environment. Moving from Kisumu County to Nairobi County, you'd have to pay a lot of taxes. Every other county has its own cess on the way. Such issues should be addressed so that you have a conducive environment for cooperatives to be able to thrive. Developing and using innovations that are able to give cooperatives a comparative advantage. What are these, for example? Making use of market intelligence, digital innovations, get the markets. Nowadays, somebody mentioned previously that you do not have to take your goods directly and not sell to come back with the goods. However, the ICT platforms that you could utilize effectively and efficiently to be able to market, for example, employing viable dynamic market development approaches and building strong business development skills. In conclusion, is that cooperatives play a significant role in spurring economic growth, rural transformation and development through jobs creation, improvement of livelihoods, providing access to finance, alleviation of poverty, and promoting social inclusion, cohesion, and integration. Thank you.
Thank you, Vera, for such a wonderful presentation, helping us to know the importance of aggregation and how that is being carried out under the cooperatives. Thank you so much. And as you cited, I think in the sector that I work in, one of the biggest challenge has actually been governance. And I wish that can be addressed and see how we can take advantage of the synergy that is found in coming together. I was in one place, actually last week I was in some of the places you have mentioned, and I realized as much as around that particular cooperative union, they have up to about 100 and almost 150 aggregation centers. Only under 40 are actually dealing with that particular union. And I was asking them, why is the issue here? Because I think there is a strength in numbers. Why are the people running away and going to other private drivers of the industry other than using your own facilities? And I think those are some of the questions that we may need to even interrogate and see how we can be able to strengthen that model of the cooperatives. Please, I need to seek your indulgence in allowing somebody who just missed in the program and who is very critical. I did a mention about the warehouse receipt systems, and I know there is already a commodities exchange in place, actually, which was born not more than 2 years ago. And we have somebody from Kenya National Commodities Exchange, where they can be able to share how these receipts are being traded. And I'm going to be asking Rose Adika, who is a manager training and research, to come and share within some 10 minutes. Let's clap for Adika as she comes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, all. As you have heard, my name is Rosa Dika, Manager Research and Training at the Kenyan National Multi-Commodities Exchange. I'm here representing the PS for Trade, Ambassador Johnson Weru, and the Acting CEO for COMEX, Mr. Jared Nyaundi. I will start presenting. As you know, we are the new kids on the block, and much is not known about COMEX. I will now tell you more about COMEX so that you may know it is a commodity market in the offing. So the Kenyan Commodities Exchange is a project under the State Department for Trade and Enterprise Development. It is designed to promote agricultural and non-agricultural commodities, especially the mining sector in the country through structured trading. COMEX project is part of the government's Big Four agenda on food security and manufacturing. We envisage that the first pilot phase will be launched on October 2022. And COMEX takes a multi-sectoral approach where we have the advisory committee which advises on the board on what to do on bringing both public and private sectors actors together. About the exchange, we define a commodity exchange as an organized marketplace where buyers and sellers come together to trade commodity-related contracts following rules set by the exchange. The exchange provides an efficient, modern trading system that protects the rights and benefits of sellers, buyers, intermediaries, and the general public. And when we have this exchange, we envisage to have the following elements. It will provide a trading platform, which is either physical or an electronic trading system with an intricate set of trading rules. It will provide standard contracts rather than letting buyers and sellers determine all contract provisions themselves. It will provide security on the quality and the quantity of the commodities traded by setting grades and standards, and the exchange will be tightly regulated. And this we mean by that the Capital Markets Authority is our regulator, and it will deal with that function. So we see the benefits of a commodity exchange. It enhances food security, and here we see that it cushions farmers from post-harvest losses and stress selling, which is avoided. And number two, quality standardization and guarantee. Here we mean that there is transparency in our methods of trading. Number three, there is efficient price discovery. This is determined by market forces, the demand and supply forces. Number four, contract risk management. It deals with the systemic and operational risks, spillover effect of the commodity exchange. This includes storage infrastructures, improvement of value addition and processing infrastructure, emergencies of services like cleaning, grading, packaging, and collateral management, which has already been told by NCPB, Mr. Noah, market information systems, financial inclusion, and access to finance, as alluded by the cooperative lady. Now this is the structure for the commodity market. It will deal with agricultural products. Initially we are starting with the grains, and later on we'll introduce minerals and metals in our trading, and then energy and exotic products. This is the regulatory interface. We have Agricultural Warehousing Regulation 2019, controlling the commodities exchange. We have the quality certification agencies by Kenya Bureau of Standards. Warehouses approved for the commodities are the National Cereals and Produce Board. And now the trading platform, which is regulated by the Capital Markets Authority, and the clearing banks by the central banks, and banking laws applicable. We go on to the progress. We have seen a legal and regulatory framework in place. We have reviewed existing acts and regulations. We have amended existing laws. And recently, COMEX was categorized as financial institution. We have memorandum and articles of association. We have a regulatory oversight, the CMA, commodities markets regulation developed, rule book of the COMEX developed and reviewed by the CMA, warehouse receipt bill drafted, and lastly, agreements with service providers through MOUs. The funding model and capitalization structure, we have a funding model developed, projected financial statements, information memorandum. And number 3, market operations guideline, listing of the commodities, membership of the COMEX trading system, market supervision, risk management, and clearing and settlement. 4th, we have the training materials developed, and we are working closely with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development on that issue. And here are the selected commodities for trading. Selection criteria for the commodities to be traded. It will include coffee, maize, wheat, sorghum, millet, tea, cowpeas, dry beans, groundnuts, and pigeon peas, rice, pulses, beans, chickpeas, green gram, groundnuts, pigeon peas. But this will go in phases. Not all of them will be traded. At the first trading, we anticipate only the grains or the maize commodities. We have harmonized of standards for 18 commodities within the Northern Corridor Commodity Exchange Cluster. Inclusion of metals and minerals will be done at a later stage after COMEX stabilizes its operation in agricultural markets. So we see the collateral management operations, which has been discussed by the National Cereals and Produce Board, where we will do the processes of receiving, weighing, grading, receipting, storing, inspection, pest control, and record keeping. And this is mainly through the Warehouse Receipt Council. Here are the 6 warehouses for COMEX initial setup: Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, Eldoret, and Karatina. Commodity Exchange Technology Suite. This is the online trading system, which I've told you earlier on, and it will have the interface for trade and broker platforms, training, interface commodity deliveries. The ownership patterns, as at now, it is government owned, and we are adopting Ethiopia Commodity Exchange, or emulating the Ethiopian Commodity Exchange, the Dubai Gold and Commodity Exchange. And in future, we will demutualize the exchange to be like the National Commodity and Derivative Exchange in India, which is a public-private partnership. There is also the Multi-Commodity Exchange India, Auction Holding Commodity Exchange, Malawi, South Africa, Futures Exchange, which are privately owned. The proposed ownership, after a feasibility study done in 2014 by Stalwart Consultancy, it proposed that Kenya Commodities Exchange be formed where no single entity should own more than 10% of the shares, as shown below. Government of Kenya 10%, farmers 10%, individual investors 30%, institutional investors 30%, financial institutions 10%, and foreign investors 10%. So we have the certificate of incorporation, the ownership, shareholdings, the cabinet secretary, the national treasury has 4 nominal shares, and Nairobi Stock Exchange has 1 nominal share. The board members Commodities are the Principal Secretary, National Treasury, PS Trade, PS Cooperatives, PS ICT, CEO, Nairobi Securities Exchange. It has co-opted the PS for Agriculture, PS Mining, and PS for Public Works. The key milestones is that we have seen the Warehouse and Receipt Act being reviewed, and we have seen the capitalization of the exchange ongoing, where the World Bank IFC group will partner with COMEX on capitalization issues, and then warehouse refurbishment and certification. We call in private investors, collateral managers, NCPB, KNTC, and KEBS to come and join in the exchange trading. And then another milestone is licensing by Capital Markets Authority, which is ongoing. Commodity Markets Regulations 2020 have already been done. And then procurement of Market Information System and COMEX website have already been done. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you so much. Let's give her another round of applause. And I know with the 5 presentations that have been done, you may have come up with some questions. You may have some questions that are arising from those presentations. We want to invite all those presenters to come forward here. The reason is because we may not have the panel, because the majority of them got some issues and they were not able to come. And so we are going to ask them to maybe some few questions within maybe 10 minutes, upon which we will we'll be winding up our session. So I'm going to ask all the presenters, please, let's have Willie Kimani, let's Vera, Noah, Eric, you're still around, okay? And then Andika. And please make your presentations brief, because we have not more than 10 minutes to do this. So please, thank you. So please, if a question that you wanted to ask has been asked by someone else, don't ask again, because we do not have the time. So just be straight to the point, and again also say who is being addressed, so that they can also be able to respond to the same. The floor is open. Somebody to have the mic? Okay. Okay, we have one brother there. Do you have another person? Okay, another one and another one. We can begin with those 4, yeah, those 5, and then we can be able to, you will see whether we can get another round. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
My question goes to the first presenter, just near there is, I want to ask.
That's Willie.
Yeah, Willie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that we have, you say that there are so many warehouses for storage and facilitation of distribution of food. And every time we hear that people are dying of starvation in Turkana, what is your action and your response to that problem? Thank you.
I think that's for Noah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
All right.
We can, I think, get to the others. Yeah, you can just come down here. There's somebody in a white KIPPRA shirt.
Good evening. My name is Nicholas. My question goes to Willie Kimani. What programs are the supermarkets doing in order to take the products that are produced within Kenya in the aspect of Buy Kenya, Build Kenya? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My question goes to the NCPB. In many occurrences in Western Kenya, people are opting to sell their products at lower prices. This is because that NCPB also take the maize in lower prices. And also, when we say that the warehouses are full, you as NCPB knows that in such a region, there is this number of people who are planting this crop. So you as NCPB should have that mechanism saying that in this area we need to have this amount of quantity and at least plan on it. Why are you not doing such a thing? Thank you.
Okay. Pass it on to...
my name is Marianne.
Okay.
So I think this question goes across to most of you. So the biggest challenge right now is governance. It's bringing down a lot of organizations. So basically, it affects most of you in terms of, on average, corruption. So what are you doing as an institution to just cap that? So that at the end of the day, with the young generation that you're actually growing, don't grow into the same term of corrupt institutions and all. Yeah, thanks.
Good evening. My name is Mohammed Mahat, lecturer at Garissa University. Thank you, KIPPRA, for organizing this very enlightening. And I would like to thank these presenters for having enlightened us very well on this. I will have asked just simple question. Today you have shown a lot of presentation of which, in fact, most of them have been very important, and I have taken note of it. Now the question is, what measures are you taking to market the functions of this, all these good things? How is the Kenyan public receiving this information? Because most people are dark about it. Thank you very much, Asante.
We want to hear to Madam Rose.
Yeah, thanks very much for the very good presentations, stimulating our minds on really what's happening on the ground. I'm happy to learn that COMEX is actually just about to kick off. But most importantly is the element you have brought in that it will start with the maize. I know that maize is a key element of NCPB. And this question actually is for the two. How will NCPB work with COMEX? And will this take away the role that NCPB is expected to play in terms of market stabilization? Do you see a situation where maize prices in Kenya will stabilize more or reflect more the market prices with COMEX? And to the NCPB, why do we always have issues of bumpers of maize and the like, and the prices fluctuating, yet the key role of NCPB is actually to stabilize prices in the market? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think you can start with those ones, and I think a lot of questions have been thrown to you, Mr. Kosige, and I think we can start with you.
Thank you. First of all, I want to start with the program. We talked about starvation. We have always responded to distribution of food, especially in the ASAL areas. There is a policy as well in the government where they changed and started providing cash for those areas that at times they feel they don't need to have the same food that we are in possession or we can supply. But what we are saying is that we provide in case of any situation where we feel, not even we feel, it is our mandate to ensure that nobody dies with hunger or food, lack of food in the country. Unless exceptional cases where the information gets to us when it's too late, but we always respond. However, anytime, even if it's at night, we always respond to that. In terms of the prices, you realize that the price stabilization, we have the private sector, and we are encouraging the PPP arrangements. And we are saying that the traders actually go, especially to the markets, where when we discover, for instance, now at the onset of harvest, you realize that the traders actually take advantage of the farmers. And we always intervene in terms of pricing, and you've seen what happened, like even this season that passed on. We actually reacted, and you saw the prices coming from as low as 1,800 to where it is right now. So what we are saying is that the interventions are there, and we are responding to all the needs of the farmers in this country. In terms of the what measures to ensure that the people are not in the darkness, I want to encourage that when we are at our rural village, we encourage people to participate in public participation, because those are the only avenues that we reach to the people in the village through the public participation, and using other avenues like even the county governments. We now have the CECs, agriculture. We are in touch with them across the country. We discuss and we own everything that is happening in this country in terms of food matters because of the CECs, agriculture in the various countries. How will NCBB look with COMEX in terms of COMEX? You realize that we are a warehousing operator. COMEX will come in not only because of NCBB. I think she demonstrated that we are not the only ones running the warehouses. We have seen KNTC and other private sectors in terms of warehousing operators. The warehousing operators will be licensed by AFA and Warehousing Receipt Council for us to be able to store items. Now, that's where now the trading starts in. When we have the receipts ready, then the COMEX comes in and takes over from the platform where they have the trading in terms of the receipts. So we are just warehousing operators, and we are saying we have set aside warehousing receipt stores for NCBB. We have our own commercial, and we still have the hub that I've just discussed in terms of the warehouses. So we have separated all our businesses lines in terms of commercial, in terms of warehousing, and in terms of the hub business model. And as well, we still have stores that takes care of the food now, that is the emergency relief foods that responds to emergencies in the country. That is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we can go to, let's hear from Naivas, addressing the matter that was so directed to you.
Yeah, thank you. One of the key things is our first question was on local purchase. What do we need to do? Problem you have with most Kenyans is when your neighbor sets up a good car wash and it's successful, you set up one next. And that's the same problem we are facing when now about local products. So when you bring me a biscuit to list because now you find that you're going to be cheaper or something, that's not a reason to list, because your competitor will just reduce the price. The key issue is before someone innovates, we want people to go out there, innovate and ask themselves, what role is my product going to play? Is it an entry-level product that's going to sort out a particular market need? Is it a mass market? Is it a premium? Is it an entry-level premium? Those are the kind of questions you need to ask. It's not always about margins and prices. It's about the role of what the product will do. And when it comes to agricultural product, one of the key headaches we are facing, unlike our other competitors who actually buy from, they buy from one aggregator, as we buy from individual farmers. If people can take the cooperatives serious, if we can actually have, because someone has like a small farm, but he wants to supply Naivas. You can't, because it's too small. But if you combine with your neighbor and the rest and everyone, then you become consistent. Every day and all the time, you're able to all work together and able to give me fresh produce and all that. Our first preference, in fact, we don't import anything. We want to work with locals. We are locals and we have to be grown by locals. And one other key thing, which is corporate governance. Corporate governance has actually brought out and brought down very many of the retailers. Corruption, shrinkage, and unfortunately most of the shrinkage is not about the shoplifter who is actually taking something and putting in the pocket. It's actually those paper thefts and the like. You know, price fixing, what all other things. Unfortunate bits that actually have been there in the market. And one of the best things of actually, by having boards, by having proper boards and bringing other people, and especially family-owned enterprises, bringing in other investors who can actually be able to bring in controls, governance, reporting, and structures around everyday ways of working. Unfortunately, if we don't do this, we are going to be in a lot of problem, because we need to, one, sort out corruption at the entry level, sort out corruption at the store level, sort out corruption at the management level. And for example, we always ask ourselves, why did one of the retail chains that closed down, it had a supermarket in the border near South Sudan. It has left everywhere else in Kenya, everywhere else. You've gone to set up in another country, and when you start tracing back, a big store has nothing. There's someone who got some money somewhere into his pocket, and now you're just wasting everyone. Corruption has to be addressed. It has to be addressed all the way from our leadership structures, who we elect, who everybody. We have to nail this corruption, but otherwise you're not going to go anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can we hear the same from Vera? Because I think, and why we are actually not even getting the products from these cooperatives could be because of the same reason. But let's hear from Vera and see how you are addressing the issue of corporate governance.
First of all, to mention is that part of what KENAF does, besides lobby advocacy and policy action and farmer representation, is organizing farmers into groups, producer business groups, pre-cooperatives and cooperatives. And part of our member services, since we are a member-based organization, is to build the capacity of our members. Once we organize them into groups, be it pre-cooperatives, cooperatives, farmer unions, for example, we offer trainings, capacity building sessions and convenings. We build the capacity on organizational development, skills development, and governance, for example. And this is a continuous process that even when the leadership changes, the ideas and the principles are still maintained. They always have continuous training and capacity building on such issues. Also speaking about, he asked about how the information trickles down to others who are not in this platform. For the Kenya National Farmers Federation is member services. We always engage the farmers in several activities, farmer field days. We also have partnerships with NCPB, for example, whereby we are soon, they're soon rolling out, scouting out of aggregators, for example, for the cereals. So we partner with them to improve awareness creation about this activity. So yes, they do cascade down as part of information dissemination that we do to our member farmers and affiliate members. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Vera. I know there was no question directed to Eric, but I think there was a general question coming from my brother at the back there, generally about corporate governance. Do you have anything to say about corporate governance from where you sit? Yeah,
I think Willie has pretty much covered it well in terms of we need to nail this corruption. It's happening in private sector. It's not as public as it is in public sector. A lot of people actually think there's no corruption in private sector, but it is there. And especially this paper stealing, just someone seated invoices, LPOs, so on and so forth. So as much as we like to condemn the government and our leadership, political leadership, in terms of corruption, even in private sector it's there. So we need to deal with it both in private sector and in public sector. As much as in private sector there's usually no news about it compared to public sector, but it is there. It is a monster we're also fighting.
We are in essence saying, then let's begin with the leadership. Let's begin with the political leadership. The moment they're going to actually show the way, the rest will be able to follow. I keep remembering when the NAC government came into being in 2002, yeah, around that time, nobody could ask you for anything. Even policemen were scared of us. What can take us back there? I think we just lack the confidence that the government is going to support us whenever we take action. And therefore I really support when my brother Willie says that we need to really fight it, and we must begin the fight from where it rests. Majorly is where we can see it in a big way, and especially in our political leadership. Now, time is not on my side totally. Any burning question just like this, I see. I will use my intelligence to know who was a burning question. Anybody? I can see one mom there. Anybody else? I think we'll go for mom. Yes, we'll go for her. And then after that, we are going to have somebody from Kenya Union of Nurses just to say something. I'm going to ask her to come forward around here so that we don't spend a lot of time. Give her the mic, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity for me to ask my questions. I'm Margaret Maumba from Pest Control Products Board. I think you've heard it being mentioned by our presenters who are in front there. I have a question to NCPB. I know your fumigation services, you have people who go through specialized trainings, and I saw you had a bullet on extension services. I don't know, have you engaged qualified people now that we have very many university graduates in that area? Then to the cooperative lady, I have a concern. What is being done about procurement in the cooperatives, especially concerning inputs? We've had a few cases there related to maybe quality aspects. I don't know if something has been done that has streamlined, or what is the status? Then secondly, you've mentioned of farmer trainings, that you raise awareness. Does it extend to safe handling and use of pesticides currently? I remember some time back we used to work with the organization. That we have a new approach to safe use of pesticides where we are training youths to be technically qualified to be handling that. And I know you have a big group of farmers that you handle. So we have cooperatives who are partnering with us. They organize farmers who can be trained, and then they can offer services to the others, or they can be trained themselves to be aware of how they are to handle the product safely. Those are my two questions to the cooperative lady. Then Naivas, getting visits from PCPB is not selective for you. It cuts across anybody who is handling those products, and it's for our good because we are looking at what do you have, then are you handling it properly? So it's what the law has, and it's for the good of what you are also doing and offering to your customers. Maybe to add on to NCPB, your extension group, maybe you can also consider that approach we are using now of training specialized groups. They are taken through a 1-week training so that they are very conversant with all issues to do with pesticides. And we have done like a few counties. It's more or less pilot. It's a bit expensive, but there are partners who have come up and we've done some numbers. It started around 2016. I don't know whether you are aware of it, but that's my contribution to the discussions. And I think KIPPRA has had us being mentioned. We are in the same group with NCPB. I hope next time you will put us in the program. Thank you.
Kuchipigania. Thank you. Let's hear from Koske. Some 2 questions thrown to you.
Thank you, Margaret. You know very well that we have our teams across the network that are well trained, and they always, every 2 years, we subject them to trainings for refresher courses. And I'm glad that you are saying you have a program. I think we'll get back to you so that we engage more of our staff so that we can expand the network and the workforce. And thank you. I think that one we will get back to you. So with the qualifications, we cannot engage people who cannot handle our chemicals. You know the kind of chemicals we use. Yeah, so we have them, we have qualified. But again, as you have said, we will engage your organization so that we see how we can collaborate and work together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's hear from Vera. There are also 2 questions. The first one is about procurement of inputs and whether there is a transparency there, and also the farmer training and whether you also have safe handling of the chemicals.
Thank you for the question. Beginning with, you asked whether the trainings extend to handling and the rest. Yes, it does. We've worked with you before. We'll be very much willing to engage again so that we have a wider reach as usual. And also, we do this not solely as KENAF, as much as we also offer technical advisory services, as you know, to farmers. Yes, it does, so that's a yes to you. And you also asked about procurement. One of the ways to curb this is to develop structures for procurement that are institutionalized so that we have transparent processes and ensuring that procedures, procurement procedures and manuals are developed and followed to the latter. That way, we are able to avoid such kind of issues that you mentioned. And allow me to respond to the other question that was speaking about corruption, for example, and issues of governance. An approach that we employ is do farmer-driven civic education. We train them, we create that awareness, and so that the farmers are able to know that they should hold their leaders accountable. For example, what do you expect from your leaders? Stemming from your MCAs to the MPs to your local leaders, anybody in the public, seeking public seat, what do you expect from them? How can you hold them accountable and also improve public participation, as you had mentioned before? This way, they are able to know what are my rights, for example. Can I go in and ask, this project is supposed to get to me, to these value chains? I mean, this value chain, and I don't know about it. What is the progress? How much are the billions so far doing in my county? So that farmer-driven civic education is very important in improving governance, for example. Not just as an organization, but nationwide, for example. That is something that we do that helps to improve accountability in management of resources, for example. Yes.
Thank you so much. I think there was a question thrown to Willie?
Maybe even to add on that, I think we have provided hotlines. In case you see any corruption, you are always free, and you know, hotlines are there in our, you know.
Where are they? Where do we see them? We need to do this. Where do we see them? In your website? Okay.
Okay. We have the question, if I can take it in a larger sense. The issue that retailers are raising is not necessarily the visits. We need compliance. We need everybody coming to comply. But can you train? Can you enable retailers? And can we not have, for a person to trade, he has to have more than 13 different people. One from liquor, the other one from pest control, the other one from fisheries. By the time you're finishing all, even to play music, another one, there are so many. One day anybody who will actually come, one day Maendeleo and Ome will come up with their, you know, guys, we need to just simplify the way business is done in this country. The same way people say when they go to Rwanda, they get all the licenses quite fast and everything. Right now here the problem is, by the time you're trying to lodge one particular license and then the next license and the next license, you just list for one retailer, and then how much is going to be still again be taxed over and above? What is he doing there? That is a problem that we have. Can we have the teams that are actually involved, like from pest control, coming and training people and telling people, do not come and talk to the buyers who buy the particular products. This is what you should be looking for. Otherwise, right now, they all have to wait up to what the manufacturer says. This has a stamp from your body, and then that's the only way you actually say it's okay. But do they have that knowledge? No. We want government and government institutions to be enablers of business. Yeah, sure. That has to work. And marketing, of course, of our services and everything, as you had actually asked over there, I think it's very important for us to market Kenyan and Kenyan ways of doing things. I've actually learned today about the bulk grains and all that, but I know about the Tanzanian one, because some of my competitors are actually doing their private labels from those particular, they buy from the common markets, the one that we've actually just raised on the issue. We want these things marketed to Kenyans. Let's, within ourselves, create an ecosystem of consuming what we are all producing. It does not make sense for people to be buying grains and doing private labels in Tanzania and in Uganda. Yet we have the capacity of the people eating here. Why is that Kenyan shilling going out there, then bringing in back goods? Let's be enablers. This Kenyan, the amount, I'm sorry, as the last one. If I was to look at something like just juice, the number of, we don't have fruits in this country. Can I tell you that more than 70% of the fruits that you're actually seeing even on my shelf are actually imported?
70%?
And then after that, yes. Okay. We don't have apples, we don't have oranges, we're getting them from Egypt and everywhere else. We don't have. We don't have grapes.
Your neighbor there produces mangoes.
Aitoshi. Okay. Alafu mwenye anaproduce ni moja na ikimaliziwa kesho hakuna. So even by the time you're not even saying this is locally produced orange juice or something, the pulp is actually not even coming from here. We have not been importing the whole pulp, then having hot fields, and then bringing all those other things. Guys, we need a national conversation. The other day we were actually exporting meat, and we don't even have meat. This is the only country where chicken is more expensive than beef. How? A chicken takes 32 days to be good, to be ready, and it's selling at 370 per kilo. A cow takes more than 2 years, and it's selling at 350. Guys, are you understanding, guys? As in, we have a way, we have to start changing the way we guys are. Yes. This market needs a change. Sorry for that.
Thank you so much, Willie. You know, Daktari, what I'm hearing is 3 days are not enough. 3 days are not enough. I know you must have been very tired to do 3 days, but we may need to extend to 5 days, and we have more of this kind of a conversation. Yes, because these are the people on the ground. Majority of us may not actually know most of the things that are being said here. And I want to thank you, the panelists, thank you, presenters, thank you for such an enlightening, discussions that you've shared with us. And we are waiting for the next time so that we can be able to hear much more. I'm waiting to know where you are. I want to hear more of these things. Because we could be struggling to do exports when we actually have a domestic market. Exactly. Enough for our products. And we are keeping on, rushing and try to push for the export market. It is good because you give us extra dollar, but I think it's also good to create that safety, because With the moment those guys close it, then where do we take it? Coffee, we are doing 95%. What if they say they are not going to take more of our coffee? What is going to happen? Yeah, it is going to be another very risky adventure. So thank you so much, and I'm going to ask that we give them a warm round of applause for their good presentations and giving answers to the questions. We just have to finish. And just before we finish, we want to hear from the lady. 2 minutes. I don't know where you are, the representative. You are already here. Thank you so much. Maybe within 2 minutes, and then after that, I will give it back to KIPPRA. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Wherever you are, just stretch. Just stretch a little bit. Stretch. Thank you. All right, thank you so much. My name is Peris Wanjiku. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Most importantly, I'm an advocate and a legal representative of Kenya National Union of Nurses. I work in the health sector. Today was to share my perspective or our experience each and every single day in the health sector. We all understand that everywhere in the world, health is a critical function. Without health, we will not be here. If all of you are not happy, all of you are not well, we will not be the drivers of economy. We here talk about sustainable economic transformation, and human work is a factor of production that is extremely critical in everything. And for this, first and foremost, let me appreciate the government, let me appreciate KIPPRA and every other stakeholder that works in health. Health sector has the best policies in the world. It's the best funded, we have sufficient funds. But the question comes in, why is it that economy is not being driven by the health sector? We have focused, even the Big Four agenda, health is a key sector. It's one of the funds, the government funds actually head to the health sector. But what have we forgotten? We have forgotten about the drivers of economy. We've forgotten about the health workers. We have forgotten about the doctors, the nurses, the medical practitioners, the clinical officers. I know I represent nurses, but being that I'm the only representative, I wish to represent both the doctors who are not here, the medical laboratory technicians. First and foremost, health begins at the lowest level, at the clinic, at the simple dispensary, at the hospital. That is where health is, because that is the immediate place that you rush when you're feeling unwell. And here is where we work. If you look at all the policies, they are very good in paper, but they seem to have forgotten to implement the economic transformation down at the level. Our health workers, where do they work? The simple hospital, how does it look? Where are the human resources for health? They have been forgotten, or they are not trickling down from the top level to the lowest impactful person, the simple doctor and a nurse. If you walk to so many clinics today, you will not get all the medicines. There will be a shortage of something. The World Health Organization has given so many recommendations of how many doctors to treat a patient. For instance, a nurse, there should be 1 nurse for every 4 patients, minimum. But right now, walk to the most critical, just any casual clinic, you will find more than 50 patients and 1 nurse. Or there are no doctors. There will be no medical staff, no medicines. There is so much work and very little labor. Nurses are overworked, they are tired. Health is the only sector in Kenya that runs 24/7. If you work an 8 to 5 job, nurses and health workers work from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. From 6 p.m. in the evening for the night shift all the way to 8 a.m. in the morning. That is a 12-hour shift. They will not have breaks. They will not have even a simple thing. The same clothes we are wearing today, they are not so much hospitable in a health facility. They need better clothing. Nurses do not have simple thing as a uniform allowance. They are only given 10 shillings. Do you know how many patients they attend to? A patient can decide to hit you. They have their medical emergencies you have to attend to. How are we taking care of our health personnel at the ground? Another major issue is the shortage of health workers in Kenya. It is so diverse. I heard someone saying that we've recruited 20,000 nurses in the past few years, and that is not the reality at the ground. There is such a huge shortage. We've been building infrastructure, health infrastructure, bringing in equipments, but we've forgotten to bring in medical personnel, training. How can you work at one hospital for 10 years? Your salary and allowances have never changed. You earn the same amount. You hire a health personnel and you pay them only 15,000 shillings. It's such a frustrating thing to the young and incoming health personnel. So I think it's very critical that we reconsider where we are placing what we are doing to the human factor in the health, the nurses, the trainings that they